Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is Iyanda Siraj, the eclectic high priestess. I hope that I'm finding you well in my spirits. Um, so I have really been battling whether or not I wanted to do commentary on Nature Boy. Okay. It came up in one of the readings recently, but it's been something I've been following for like 2 years now. And I have my own thoughts on it, right? So I wanted to talk about it. I've been, don't mind me, y'all. But okay, so this is the thing. I really, really truthfully believe that that man has been compromised, okay, by a force, right? I think that many people who end up watching him or end up going over there, excuse me, they say the same thing. They say that they were drawn in by the knowledge, right? By the five sciences, right? That he teaches. They were drawn in and then they feel like that they were tricked. You know, a lot of people who just are watching feel like they were drawn in by the five sciences and then they were tricked. I honestly felt like that for a little while I was going through this process, but I'm telling you that there were steps along the way that let me know that that there was something wrong. I myself believe that in an effort to raise his own consciousness, right, he did make the moves that he made. Okay. I feel that his ego got uh, inflated. And I feel like I'm seeing that white lady. There was a lady who there was a lot of news coverage about this lady in like the first or second year that Nature Boy was I think he was still in Costa Rica maybe at the time. I can't remember, but either way, there was a news article and there was a lot of coverage about this lady who was there with him. And it was when he was first becoming, like, all the conversation about him being a cult, basically. You know, it was all because of this. Can I be frank? It was because this white lady went missing over there and all her family was worried. And she was over there and people started looking for her. I mean, he was on the news. They was doing interviews with him and everything. So I feel like something right in that time frame, that man was infiltrated. Because I do feel that when he began his journey, it was a legit journey. He was a divine masculine who was running, but was also seeking healing. He was looking for answers. Okay. So I don't think that he started off and said, hey, I'm going to go start this group and I'm going to abuse women and I'm going to be all split personality and all this shit, all this random shit that we see now, right? I honestly believe that, I mean, me, myself, who's dealt with kind of, I'm going to use the term walk-in. I've dealt with walk-in energy. Some people would just flat out consider it a possession, but he's not himself. You know, some people say he's living out of his lower self. I don't think that any of this stuff is him. Honestly, I feel like he is a vessel, and a lot of the things that he ends up doing or saying are comfortable for him because they're so close to the vibration that he's used to being in prior to whatever this journey is he's on. I just, for some part, I mean, when I look at him though, I see a demon. I see evil. Okay. But it's not him. He's not evil. He's not a demon, but he definitely is a housing something. Okay. I'm seeing that, that video, that everybody put out, you know, everybody was bringing attention to. If you haven't seen that, then there was this video of him being, he was in a doctor's appointment and the doctor was like this white guy and, you know, he was, sports physical. I think that's what it was titled. Like it was like a sports physical. a lot of chaos and drama came when that video came to surface, because so many questions about his sexuality and this and that. But scratch all of that. I want to talk about the fact that that's coming up. That scene is right there because that's when the demon was introduced to him. The demon was introduced to him that way, which is the case for a lot of us, because a lot of our own demons that we battle every day are passed on to us through our addictions or our addictions or attachments. Okay, so it doesn't have to be sex, but it can be anything. But for him, it's sex. He has a way of collecting demons and disseminating demons through sexuality. And I think that there's a lot of emphasis on the fact that he does, I don't know, people who follow him will know, but if you don't, then he speaks a little bit about, actually speaks a lot about the sexual interaction that he has with his wives. And a lot of the interaction is anal and through the mouth. Okay, so, and I'm not trying to be vulgar, but there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. The anus is a release. Okay, so when you are, as a matter of fact, too, and this is nothing that's coming up, the lining of the anus, the lining of your butt. It's very sensitive. It actually absorbs energy, absorbs nutrients and things like that very easily. This is why when you have like backed up intestines, or you're constipated or whatever, you are also at risk of infection and things like that. Now, I bring that up because this man has talked about, and the women also have talked about, and then of course Malia being the one who brought attention to the fact that he basically demolishes their rectums. Okay, now I know I'm being vulgar, but this is the point. Anal sex is cool if that's what you're into, but let's talk about the basic of it. It means for excretion. It is a means for discarding. It is a means for getting rid of and releasing, right? And if he is inserting knowledge, because that's what he says, he's giving them knowledge through sexual exchange. If he is giving knowledge and pouring knowledge into the anus, I think it's I can't even find the words really. It's more like it speaks to, it's like trash. You're giving it to the trash. That's what I'm trying to say. You're giving it to the trash. So it speaks to the value of the knowledge, and then the receptacle. So the value, if you're throwing it to the trash, then it must be trash. Okay, I don't know what. Anyway, I think that Eligio definitely is. When I first started following him, there was a lot of emphasis on birth charts. And from my knowledge, birth charts are a good way for you to give away your power or the roadmap to your own destiny. If you let people into that, it kind of lets people know who you are, what you're capable of, what you're meant to be, what you're going to have in this lifetime, your strengths, your weaknesses. It tells everything. So by even just studying that, if we don't even go as far as to think about like black magic or anything like that, we can start with him knowing their birth chart. Okay. When he knows their birth chart, and he's teaching them, excuse me, he's teaching them. So like it's like he knows the birth chart, but he's teaching them what the birth chart means, right? So already they're susceptible to manipulation at that point, because he's taking this thing that is supposed to be your roadmap, your guide, and he's taking it into his possession and then discerning it for you. Like not discerning, but deciphering it for you, right? Rather than you seeking this knowledge and learning this stuff, or thinking that you have a credible source, because I feel like everybody over there literally felt like they had a credible source of wisdom, knowledge. They felt like they were connecting to truth. Okay. And honestly, in some way, they were connecting to their own truth, because the same way that Eligio has been infiltrated, many of the people over there were infiltrated before they went over there. Okay. So, I know the commentary is a little different on a lot of other channels, but for me, I don't see human beings who are choosing to be a part of something abusive. I see I see energetic signatures that are completely, like, that are absolutely alike. They are almost identical. I see energetic signatures from Eligio, Aya, Eferu, that Natiri, or whatever her name is, Velvet, all of them have the same energetic signature to me. They all carry the same energy of wounded, seeking, and prideful. Okay. So that prideful energy comes in where I'm going to hold on to this, even though I know it's not doing me any good. Right. I'm going to keep doing this because I said I was going to do it, or I said this is what I was about. And all of them have the same signature when I look at them. Right. The difference between them, there's really no difference. There's just um, concentrations. Eligio has a greater concentration of this energy because he is drawing from all of them. He's drawing energy from all of them, but they all have the same energy signature, or they wouldn't flock together, because remember, birds of a feather flock together. They wouldn't flock together if they didn't have the same signature. Okay. Oh, I feel led to tell y'all about this. I had this dream in 2018. I was fairly disconnected from family and friends and stuff. I had just pretty much just kind of created my own space. But I had this dream. And in the dream, I was at a family reunion. Okay. I was at a family reunion and all my family members, familiar faces were there. I got up to perform a piece. I think I was sharing some poetry with my family at the reunion. When I started speaking, everybody got up from their chairs. They were not interested in what I had to say. So everybody just kind of like dispersed and just went about their way, like, she ain't talking about nothing. Well, after I saw everybody walk away, in the dream, I wasn't hurt or anything, but when I look at the dream, I know that there was hurt. The next scene in the dream is me wandering into the camp of Eligio. And it was just a house at the time, and it was just down the street from where my family reunion was being held, right? And I walked into this house, and all those women at the time, it was Aya, Eferu, Velvet, and somebody else was significant. Musa was significant, but whatever. When I went into the house, all of the women just kind of pulled me in and embraced me. They flattered me. They told me how beautiful I was and how great I was. This is how I feel like things happen over there. Like, I feel like, even though it's kind of like, what's it called when you fall in love, or you learn to adore, respect your abuser, whatever that's called, because I can't think of the term, but they were all in that. And when I walked in, they embraced me in a way that made me feel accepted, seen, loved. And I feel like that's what all of those people are over there are experiencing. I feel like their families, whether knowingly or unknowingly, have rejected them. Okay. And it makes them vulnerable and susceptible to what what is over there. Okay. This is not just talking about Eligio though, because this is something that happens on a regular basis. Eligio is a great example of it, but this is what happens in general. Even it's in Black Panther too. When one is rejected or cast out from their family, it's like they will search for a sense of belonging. Okay. And that sense of belonging, if they go long enough being rejected, then that sense of belonging can be illusory, and once they see it, it doesn't matter if it's an illusion or not. When they see that they're being accepted, then they move with that and they move into that. Okay. So, I don't think that anybody over there in general is being pulled in any direction they don't want to be in. Their souls have like aligned with Eligio because they are the same. They are all the same people. Okay. And I'm not here to say they're good or bad, but what I'm saying is that they are all people who are running from healing and seeking something that can bandage what they are feeling. Okay. Now, when I say Eligio as the masked warlock, this is because he knows the power of astrology. Astrology is one of the sciences that, in times to come, well, in times past and in times to come, will be taught as as English, math, and biology. It's something that will become a core subject. Okay. Because the more you see society tune into nature, then you will see that the relevance of astrology and things that are nature based, it rises. The importance or the application of or attention to it rises. Okay. But Eligio is a prophet. I do feel like he's a prophet. He has prophetic ability. He has intuitive capacities. And, the downside is that he's choosing at this time to use it to bandage his own damaged ego and to also control, right? What's that lady's name? His child's mom? Maisha. Now, I feel like that woman really damaged him. I don't feel like she did anything wrong. I feel like she challenged him to be his greater self. Okay. And instead of ascending to that place or to that position and allowing himself to be crowned, he moved in a different direction where he could maintain his sense of rightness. Okay. In a situation, that woman, Maisha, is his person. That's his person. I don't know. Velvet and all of them, that's cool. But Maisha is his person. Okay. And I feel that Velvet was a karmic. I feel like every woman in Carmination is a karmic to him. And because they feed into what he's already believing, they feed into the chaos that he's already breeding. Okay. Anytime, if there's nothing divine about feeding into chaos, there's nothing divine about submitting to something that's less than godly. Okay. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I had a quote earlier that said, that I said, "What do I look like submitting to somebody who's kneeling to somebody else?" You know what I'm saying? And in this situation, Eligio is kneeling to whatever demons or whatever else have infiltrated him. He knows it. This is something that he's not unaware. He's not unaware of what's going on. This is recently he had a thing with Eferu, okay, and Natiri tried to like cover up something, but there's video footage of him. You can hear him in the background going off on Eferu, and Natiri is trying to create some type of distraction, right? But the whole argument was about Eferu doing some type of spiritual bath or cleanse, or accepting the invitation for somebody to do that on their group. Okay. Now let's remember that Sekhmet had just left. Sekhmet without saying it, has expressed that she knows that she has a mission there with those people. Let's key in on the fact that she was there to do their hair. Sekhmet was there to do their hair. Now, every hairstylist that I've ever talked to, I've let them know, when you are a hairstylist, you are directly connected to that person's crown. And so whatever you're doing, whatever intention you're holding, whatever you're saying when you're up there, it's actually going into their crown. It's unless that person, of course, if they have a reason to worry about you and whatever, and they have protective measures up, whatever. But as a cosmetologist or a hairstylist, you have direct access to people's crown chakra. Okay. The crown chakra is your connection to the higher source, or your source, to God, your spirits, your angels, whatever you connect to for guidance. That's your connection, your crown chakra. So when Sekhmet went over there, Sekhmet is also tied to the number 9, okay, of the hermit, the enlightened one, the enlightener. Okay, because the hermit is also a teacher, the teacher of esoteric wisdom, okay, or hidden wisdom. Okay, so I think that Sekhmet, when she went over there, people are criticizing her about taking her kids over there and all these different things, but from her acknowledgement, or from her response, she took her children over there. She took someone to care for her children while she was there. She did her work and she left. Okay, now, what do I think she did? She's a hairstylist. I think she's more than aware of the fact that she can juju. She can eradicate energy. She can shift things for Eligio. She can do all kinds of things. Okay. Now, while she was up there working in his crown chakra, putting in his wick locks, right? She could have been putting incantations out there. She could have been praying, setting intentions. And I feel like that's what she did. I feel like she got over there and said that either he's going to surrender and let this all go, or it's going to be taken away, So I think she may have planted seeds for him to come to Jesus. I say that like that, but for him to come to terms with himself, to acknowledge what he's doing, okay, to acknowledge himself, the root of everything, and why he's where he is right now. She definitely did that, I feel like. I think that she also could have, I don't know her background, but I also feel like she could have collected hair, collected hair. Hair is a great way to anchor work, right? I only know that because this one guy, he's a warlock, a magician, whatever you want to call him, but he collected my daughter's hair one day, and he said, "Hey, I found your daughter's hair." No, you didn't find it. You looked for it. You gathered it, right? But anyway, hair is a great way, to tap into somebody's mentality, their psyche. In Sekhmet, if she has the right intention, then she's attempting to rewire him, okay? Rewire his mentality, connect him back to the source of his traumas, okay? Sekhmet is literally the belly of the beast that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire's den and the lion's den, okay? So this is putting you, putting danger in your path, or putting you in a dangerous situation in order for you to really truly draw on who you truly are, your sense of self, your faith, your structure system, all these things. So I do a lot of the things that are happening for him right now, meaning that like the Puerto Rican authorities are on his tail, watching him very closely. I think that's all tied to Sekhmet coming over there. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Sekhmet is tied to Velvet somehow. I don't know how that would be a thing, but I wouldn't be surprised because, and even if they don't knowing, they're not even if they don't have any kind of pact or anything like that, the feminine in general, the divine feminine, has risen to save Eligio from himself. Okay, and it's up to him what that looks like, right? If that looks like his downfall and him being imprisoned, cool. But if if that looks like him changing his behavior, moving a different way, renouncing whatever he claims he is or whatever he claims he's doing, if he chooses that, then cool. But I feel like this is all, everybody over there is part of Eligio's story. Okay. Um, I don't see him as evil. Like, I honestly feel like there's just this energy, this spirit that was implanted some time ago. Okay. I think that while he was running from his responsibilities with Maisha, he was caught up, you know. He was given something that seemed alluring. He was given a sense of power. Um, there are also a lot of rumors about him um, having sugar daddies or him being a sugar baby in general, like whether that's sugar daddies or sugar mamas. But there's a lot of rumors about him being a sugar baby. Well, I think that that also ties back to whatever that situation was where he found himself doing that video. Okay. I don't think he did that video from a place of, yeah, I want to do PORN. You know what I'm saying? I think that I think that whatever that was desperation or seeking, right? I think it was seeking. And when we're seeking, that's when we're like very vulnerable. Like we're very vulnerable when we're seeking, because anything can come swoop into us as truth. Okay. And because we are seeking truth, if it says, hey, I'm truth, for a moment, we may see it that way. Um, and part of the path, of course, is to pull back the layers and say how much of this is actual truth and how much of it is not. Right. So I don't think that carbonation itself was meant to be what it is today. But I know exactly when it took the turn. It took the turn when Velvet started to present the same energies as Maisha. When Velvet started to challenge him, who he said he was, what his foundational beliefs were, and things like that, then he was taken back and he was triggered, and it took him to Maisha. Okay. Because when he was with that lady, now, let me just put this out there. I don't know nothing about that story. All I know is that at one point, Maisha and him had bought an RV and they were getting ready to start this new life together. Okay. That's all I know. That's where it ends for me. Okay. Now, um, whatever Maisha was trying to do for him, he took that and he did it to the extreme. Okay. He did it to the extreme. Now, we see this every day with people who walk away from something and they take what they got from that and they try to present themselves as if they know more than the source that they got the information from. Okay, so that's kind of how this is going. Maisha hipped him to game. Hey, we can live freer. We can live truer to ourselves. We can be free if we live like this. He took that little notion and he went and took it and created a whole cult from that notion. She was saying, and I don't know their conversations, but this is what I feel like happened. They was moving into an RV. They was moving into a whole RV and they was about to go live life. She was showing him a way to live more minimally, not attached to Babylon. I feel like all of the lingo and all that stuff, this is why it's so changeable for him because he doesn't really know what it means. I feel like she was the one teaching him how to detach from materialism, how to detach from egotism, how to detach from his sexual addiction and all of that stuff. She was teaching him how to do that. And the way she was teaching him, or the recipe was, hey, let's detach. Let's live off grid for a little bit. Let's get off of the internet. Let's move away from our temptations. Let's do this. And so that's what they were getting ready to do. I do not know the story of how he moved from that to where he is now. But I honestly feel like whatever she was asking him to do or whatever she was directing him towards, he ran from it. He was the runner. He's a runner. He's a track star. He gonna run away when it gets hard. Okay. So whatever that was too hard for him. And it's so resonatory because I just hear him saying, they need me. You know what I'm saying? What are they gonna do without me? And I think back to my ex-husband who was a dancer before I knew him, long before I knew him. He was a dancer and a male escort, and I just think back to that and I think how attached. Now, when I met him, he was still attached because he still had costumes from that time in his life, the email address that he used. Now, let me tell you, I met my ex-husband when he was 28, and he did this work when he was in college. So it had been years, almost a decade since he was in college. But he still had this email and it was still active. Okay. Elegant male escort. I remember when I found it that day, I was so pissed. But anyway, I was only pissed because he had made me get rid of all my personal emails and join an email with him. But he still had that private one. That's besides the point. Okay. But it makes me think back to like that. Okay. I think about that and the fact that he still had costumes and underwear from that time frame. He was attached still to that energy, right? Even though we were very much so building a family. Okay. Then it makes me think of a guy that I dated in Missouri who landed him a $15 plus, I think it was like $17 an hour he was making. I can't remember exactly, but he landed him a job. And I remember being so proud of him. We didn't know each other that well and we hadn't been dating very long, but we had moved in together, right? And we was deciding that we was going to do that thing, right? And so I just remember when I asked him, why do you feel like you still need to sell weed? You know what I'm saying? He was like, they need me out here. They need me. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm their guy, He had an attachment to that. He wasn't ready to move into or transition into who he was being molded into, right? And so I do feel like it's the same type of energy with Eligio. Now, those people, now my ex-husband, I couldn't even tell you what his life is like because I don't know. Like, I don't know. But the other guy, you know what I'm saying? I think I can honestly say it with full faith that he chose the lower path. He chose the lesser route. Okay. This is not about anybody he's connected to. This isn't about nothing that he's doing right now. And he ain't got nothing to do with me. Let me just make that clear. But when I tell you that people will come into your life and try to introduce you to something that's going to help you evolve as an individual and then tie you to your purpose and tie you to the collective of humanity, it can be quite difficult to see it as such, to see it as an improvement, to see the good that will come from it. And I just remember those words, they need me. And he was holding this big ass bag of weed. I just remember I remember questioning, like, why do you feel like you still need to do this? And that, I feel like, is probably one of the questions that came up with Eligio. I feel like he was probably challenged in that way, asked to let go of a certain thought pattern or a mentality or behavior. Okay. Because, I bet he was a cheater. I bet he was definitely one of those people who is very charming, and honestly, I feel like he's very gentle and nurturing to an extent. Like, I feel like there's that side of him, but I feel like he feels more powerful when he's the Eligio that we see now, right? I feel like he feels more powerful. Okay. So for some people, it's not about right or wrong. It's about what can put me in power, what can make me less vulnerable, right? This guy, when I look at him, I see, like I told y'all, I see a demon there. I see a demon there with him, but I don't see him as evil or as a demon. I don't at all. I feel like I feel like he's too reactive, and I feel like the more he's reacting to things, the less stable he is. And honestly, that's probably what's happening for him right now. The people who want to see him fall are destabilizing him by changing things a lot, by taking action towards him swiftly, and making like back to back to back to back attacks, on him, because they know that destabilizes him. He needs to be able to come up with a new plan, all right, a new theory, a new what source, even, like, for lack of better words. Okay, I think that this man is very, misdirected energy is what I'm hearing. It's like, I know in my soul that this man is probably very nurturing and caring and giving, but he's surrendered and he's given all power to the wounds that he has, the wounds that he carries, right? So all of the power that he possesses comes from his wounds, okay? And I don't think he understands, or I don't think he's tapped into the fact that there's a whole lot more power in the vulnerability. What am I saying? He's choosing to lead with a toxic, masculine perspective, agenda, outlook, okay? But I don't think he realizes that there's a whole lot more power in his vulnerability, admitting that he made a mistake, admitting that he may not know where he's going right now, right? Because when you put yourself in a position as a leader, a Christ, Babaji, the Messiah, it makes your ego is strengthened, okay? And it becomes a barrier or a blockage between you and your higher self, okay? Or your actual self. It doesn't even have to be your higher self, because when we say higher self, that it's kind of condescending, it's like, oh, you're low. Tap into your high self, right? Whoever you are right now is a low. Tap into the better part of you. But it's all relative, so take it how you take it. But I do feel like one day when I was in a live and I was watching them, and I actually commented that. I said, I feel like you will have a lot more power. I feel like you'll have a lot more ease in life when you surrender to the feminine aspect. Okay. And honestly, he took that as a 3D thing. Like, he said, oh, you want me to surrender to these women I have over here? And in essence, yeah, because when we look at the situation, everybody, when I read comments and things like that, and people know that those women are powerful over there. Okay. It's like us watching, we know that he's one person and that's 20 people, counting the men that are there, right? So we know that, wow, at any given moment, y'all could all rise up against him and he'd be done. He'd be nothing. He knows that too. Okay, so back to this thing where Ephru had brought up or mentioned, or they were on a call with some type of mystic or psychic or something. I don't know what they was doing. I didn't watch the video in full. I just be watching snippets because I feel like I'd be being poisoned when I would listen to it too long, right? So I feel like I'd be being poisoned. So he got mad at Ephru because apparently she did some kind of cleansing or spiritual bath. Now, I don't know about y'all, but the only people get mad about you setting boundaries is the people who benefit from you not having them, right? So if he mad about her doing some type of spiritual cleanse or spiritual protection ritual or something, he only mad because because it's blocking him from accessing her energy. Now today he's interviewing her, trying to figure out if she need to go back to the village. And when they say go back to the village, they mean go back to being a toss around, because if you've been following Ephru's journey, then you know that Yeah, she'd been in and out, up and down, up in that cult, right? So, I think whatever she did, now it's been rumored that Velvet and Malia are both from New Orleans. So it's been rumored that they already have been works on Eligio, right? Now, from what I can see, they works ain't working because they are still under his control. Okay, but what I do feel though is that it did draw in attention. It did draw in support from other entities who may be able to better affect it because they're not connected to it. Okay. Because let me tell you something, when you have committed yourself to a contract or you have entered into a relationship or something, if you try to attack the person that you are in union with, you are going to attack yourself. Okay. All right. Because when you've made some type of pact, covenant, commitment to something, energetically that's acknowledged. So when you try to attack that thing and haven't detached from that thing, you can absolutely call those very energies upon yourself. Okay, whatever you're casting on that person. So I feel like that's what happened with Velvet. I feel like Velvet definitely decided that she was going to take a stance against Eligio, but she has not disconnected. So you cannot take a stance against something that you are not separate from. You can't. You can't take a stance against something you're not separate from, or else you end up going down with it, okay? Or being affected by its downfall in some way, right? Which we see happening to her right now. Many people see her as a victor at this point, but if you've been watching, she's not, because she's going to come up on some child neglect and child abuse charges because of the way she's moving, trying to get at him, right? She's not detached from him emotionally. So a lot of her actions right now are charged with trying to upset him, trying to get at him. And what she's doing is she's going to land herself in trouble. She had that man bathing her baby, and the baby was screaming in the background. So, I think that the same attention that she's trying to bring to him, because she has not detached, she's now bringing to herself as well. So if she's going to say that he's an abuser and he manipulates and he's all these things, she hasn't detached. So now we're seeing her experience people throw all these same things at her. You are abusive. You are a manipulative. You're manipulating us. You don't care about that baby, or that man that you just met and just started dating wouldn't be bathing her. Also, her cries and her screams would be alarming to you, okay, if you were not an abuser. So these are the things that Velvet is now coming up against, because I do feel like, whether she actually went and did some root work or whatever, I don't know, but her intention right now is to take him down a peg or two, to bring his whole empire down. And she must be careful because she's still emotionally, energetically, spiritually connected to that man. So with his downfall will come hers. Some of the other women in the tribe are a little smarter. I feel like, even though Malia seems like a dummy fool, I don't think she's complete dummy. It's just my opinion. I don't think she's complete dummy. I think that because of where she's come from and the things that she's experienced, that she can allow herself to be abused. Okay, let's say change your life, the tower. See, looks can be deceiving. With the Queen of Wands, the Tower, the Knight of Swords, I just feel like looks can be deceiving. I don't think that she's as naive or delusional as we think she is. Okay, remember, both of them are from New Orleans. Both of them got roots in voodoo and stuff like that. So it's a whole team of warlocks. So if they was all working together, just imagine, like, if they were all working together, putting their energy together to to create this thing, which is what Eligio wishes. You know, he wishes that he could use all of their power. That's why they're all there with him. Excuse me, because he acknowledges them as powerful portals. He acknowledges them as powerful portals, or else they wouldn't be around him. It doesn't matter how tired he claims to be of them. It doesn't matter how whack he claims sex is. It don't really matter, because he sees those women as portals. That's what they are. He says they're giving them knowledge, but he's receiving from them every time he enters them. Every time he enters them, he's receiving from them. So it's the reverse. He's not giving knowledge, he's receiving knowledge. Okay. South node shit though, karmic shit. He's not receiving any North Node, progressive, any Neptunian or okay, I was gonna say no Libran, but he's technically basking in Libran energy because it's the mask. Because Libra is definitely beauty and luxury and all those things, but you know, in his situation, it's all those things as a facade, as a mask. Okay. Okay, so what else? What else do we want to say about Eligio? You know, I do feel like too, you know, Eligio was definitely rejected either by a step parent or his biological parent. Like I feel like he was probably rejected by his biological parent and then rejected also or abused by a step parent. Okay. And I say this because it's one thing to heal from rejection from people you know, but it's a whole nother level of hurt to go from being rejected to enter another group and think that you're accepted and then to be rejected again. So let's play that back. It's already one hit to grow up without your own daddy or your own mom, right? But then it's another hit when somebody else comes in and then they're supposed to be like your makeup parent or your like replacement, and then you're rejected by them too. Okay, so I feel like there's multiple layers of rejection that Eligio has unhealed. Okay, the karma cards are here. I'm looking at them, and I know I used those early, but I feel like there is a message. Like all of this is his South Node energy that he refuses to address and overcome. Okay, he refuses to address and overcome whatever rejection he experienced in his childhood. I feel like he always felt alienated from his family, whether that be because of his interests or because, I think it's more tied to like his mom. I feel like I don't know the story. I'm sharing this because I don't know nothing about, I haven't done the research. I have not like any of these other pages. I'm not sitting up all day looking into this, but I've watched enough of these videos though to know that there's something wrong, so with the mom, I do feel that there is a sense of just, I don't think he loves women. I think he hates women. I think that he feels as if his mother, he blames his mom for a lot of things, which is why he couldn't receive direction from Maisha, right? He couldn't receive direction and trust that it was for his good and for his benefit. He had to make some type of choice. And for him, you hear him say a lot, well, that's just who I am. I am who I am. You don't like me, get the fuck on or whatever. He always just like discarding people because they don't agree with him or whatever. That's the result of being rejected, right? When you come to a place like, I don't care, whatever, it's more of a, because remember, even in that, he's not even presenting his true self. He's presenting this problematic self, okay? And then he's saying, oh, you don't like it? Oh, well, because that's what he's been used to. He's used to people seeing his problematic self and then discarding him. So he's like, oh, well, I'll just lead with my problematic self. And then if you don't like me, forget you, I'm going to move on. And he just lives in that, because that's his comfort zone. What was that? Okay. Like a gnat or something. I saw it behind me. But I do feel like this man, he has certain parasites. I mean, this just takes me back to that man, because that's all I'm seeing is him laying on that dang on table and that man touching him. I feel like, and I don't know if you guys believe in this, but entities are introduced through some very different type of circumstances. I feel like an entity was presented to him and attached to him. This is why he can't truly connect with the feminine. So I don't know who this spirit is, or what this spirit is that is messing with him, or that's with him right now. But that spirit don't want him to be happy, don't want him to have love and success and a family, wants to land him in prison. And then in prison, that spirit can have him to himself, right? To themselves. I don't know if that spirit is a male or a female, but that spirit can have Eligio to themselves if he in prison. Ain't got to share him with nobody. We here trying to identify Velvet as the jealous one who's causing all the chaos, or Malia as the one who's against all the women. No, Eligio got a spiritual spouse, got a whole demon or legion of demons attached to him. And then they won't let him have a successful union. They won't let him successfully build this tribe of conscious people building community. Okay? Because let me be clear, I ain't got nothing against polygamy. If you can make that shit work for the collective, make it work. Okay. I have no qualms with it, but I think that there's definitely what I've been seeing as far as polygamy, polyamory, people wanting to add people to their little relationship and make a throuple. They're leading with sex, which is what Eligio is doing. That's your lower chakras. Ain't got nothing to do with no ascension and no building tribe or nothing. It's all carnal pleasure. Okay. So this is the trap that Eligio is falling into. And I'm not just Eligio. Let's be clear. There's many other people who started spiritual movements and then got ego driven, and then it turned into something else. Okay. That's what's happening with Eligio. Now, do I believe that he also works very consciously to continue to create this thing? Yes. That's why I say he is the warlock. He is using the wisdom and knowledge that he does have to mind control people. He's mind controlling these people. And I would even go as far as to say that some of those phone calls, and somebody reported that he was making phone calls and sharing pictures of himself and doing little things. I feel like that's magic. I feel like he may be offering things, even pictures and stuff like that, he's given to these people to juju the people around him, to imprison the people around him. If you watch the videos, then you can kind of see how these people are kind of dead. Like if you look at their eyes, they're dead. They're dead. Honestly, Eligio was the only one who seen he got life. When I look at them. Thing is though, and I'm going to close it here. Thing is, oh no, I'm not. I'm going to close it with one Moonology card. That principalities like this, because that's what this is, can only go so far, right? They can only reach so far. And there comes a moment of realization for one person, multiple people at one time, outside entities, whatever the situation may be. But there comes a time when the message gets out, it's made very clear what something is and what something is not. And I feel like that's coming up with New Moon in Gemini. Insights about what's real and what's not. And that's about to happen on the main screen right in front of us when it comes to Eligio. Okay. So that's all I got for y'all. I'm going to close out here. Peace. I'm coming, Rianne.